Welcome back to Amy's Creative Corner. Let's finish up this layout. When last we met, I had converted this photo well into a journaling box, and now I need to add my journaling. So I'm just double clicking on my journaling, right clicking and hitting paste because I had written it previously. But notice what happened. So I hit paste and it changed the font to Arial and reduced it from 22 to 10. The font had been the recommended font of JScript, so I'm changing that. And now it looks like I want it to look. So I am going to zoom in a little bit, and I highly recommend that anytime you're adding journaling to your layout that you zoom way in so that you can make sure that one, it's legible, and two, it's exactly the way you want it to be. So for instance, look here, right behind my star, some of my text is covered up. So what I'm going to do is I hit Edit Text. Now I'm hitting my up arrow 3 times to get to the end of the line, and then I hit Enter. And I'm just going to space over a few times until I get it where I want it, and then again I'm going to arrow to the end of that line, hit Enter again, and space over a few more times. And I think that looks good. Now, one of the things that we haven't talked about yet is the fact that each of your journaling boxes has a background paper. So I'm coming to this picker, color picker here. It says background paper, and it gives me some choices. It also gives me the option of none, which would show the paper behind the the journaling box, or it allows me to use vellum. So in this case, I want black. Black text on black cardstock does not work out. So I'm going to come up to my set font color, and I'm going to change that to white. Oops. I guess it would help if I actually had selected my font. Change that to white. Okay. Now that looks much better, much more legible, and that works for me. So again, I will zoom out. Oh, let's go ahead and do the title. So since I already have my journaling, I'm going to simply delete this space, and I'm fine with that. And since I'm going to use my quick title tool, I'm also going to delete this title space. Now I've got this nice area over here where I can add in my quick title tool. So I'm just grabbing that and dragging it down, and then I'm going to highlight in the title area, and I am going to type bonk! Exclamation point. And you'll notice here again, scale, I've got the percentage of what the actual stickies would look like if you purchase this package in a level 1. It would come with the alphabet stickies. So I'm going to increase the size of my stickies just ever so slightly. I think I just want it to be 110%. But I don't want this spacing in between. See how there's this white space in between? I don't want that. So I'm going to hit 0 and then close out of that and check and see. In fact, I think what I might do with my spacing is actually do a slightly negative number. I'm just going to do -1 to make sure that there's no space in between those stickies, and there isn't. And the other thing that I can do is, if you see, there's a little more space on the left than there is on the right, and so I'm going to highlight my title, and using my arrow keys, I'm simply hitting the left key a couple times and then the down key a couple times to get that title exactly where I want it. I'm just nudging it ever so slightly with those keys. Okay, and that looks pretty good to me. although I love this pattern and I love what's going on with my pictures here, I want to make some changes. So I'm going to come over here to paper, and I am going to change my Lagoon cardstock to black by simply clicking on the black cardstock and dragging it right on top of the Lagoon. Now, everything that once was Lagoon is now black. I've also decided that I really like this Lagoon thumbprint, so I'm going to drop that paper on top of the white background, and now I've got a little bit more Lagoon, which matches that color in my t-shirt. I want to bring in a little bit of purple, so I'm going to bring in this purple dotted paper, just drop it right on my stars, and that changes. And instantly you can see how this layout is taking on a whole new look. Now, the black brads aren't too bad, and the black staple isn't too bad, but since I've got this white text and the white text here, I want to bring in a little bit more white. So I'm going to click on my brads and recolor those white. I'm going to click on my staple, and I'm going to turn my staples white as well. Now I can zoom back out. This is looking a little bit more like I want it, but the black is a little bit too harsh for my taste. So I'm going to come down to distressing, and let me zoom in again to show you something. Oh, okay, I guess I probably don't need to zoom in that much, but okay, here we go. So here's my black cardstock next to the black background and texture paper, and you can notice that the little thumbprint like we have over here on the Lagoon paper is almost gray. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the distressing color gray wool, and I'm going to sand it, and I'm going to drop the sanding right on top of the black cardstock, and it is going to load in. And when I select, you can kind of see it there, when I select that cardstock, notice that the distressing is at 50%. So let me raise that all the way to 100%. And there you can see it a little more clearly. So again, I can take it all the way down to 0, which is the plain cardstock, or all the way up to 100%. And I think I will leave it at probably 100%. Let me zoom out and see how I like that. Okay, yeah, I think I'm going to leave that at 100%. But now, look at again, I'm going to zoom in on my journaling block. You can see a little bit of the distressed black cardstock here. So now this cardstock looks a little out of place. And so again, I'm going to add my sanding right on top of that. And this time I'm going to leave it at 50% because I want my text, my font to be clear. And you know what I'm just realizing here? I forgot a date. So I'm going to come back to my text, and I'm going to add a journaling box. And notice this is what I had talked about before. It comes up with a vellum background. So I'm going to edit my text. This was November 25th, 2010. I don't want it exactly the same size as my font, so I think I'm going to put it down to 18. And let's see, with a white font. And now I need to get rid of this vellum background, so I'm going to click on None. And I also want to resize. So there you can see my date, but look what happens. As I start to resize, if I get too close to the margin, then I get this little symbol that is telling me, beware, you're too close. So I'm going to go ahead and move that over here. And because I want it to line up with the edge of my star, I'm going to grab the rotating circle on the edge of my journaling box, and then I'm just going to move it around until I like the placement. And again, I'm going to rotate it a little bit more. Now, like I mentioned before, you can use your arrow keys on your keyboard to nudge it a little bit in exactly the spot that you want it. Okay, so then I'm going to zoom back out. So I'm going to add a journaling box right on my title, and I'm leaving it vellum for a second so that I can go ahead and zoom in. Okay, and again I'm going to, because I want an even border, I'm using my arrow keys to get this placed exactly where I want it, and I think that looks good. Okay, so now I'm going to edit text, and I'm deleting the text. And I am going to go to the background, and I'm going to hit black. But what happened to my title? Well, watch this. I'm going to right click, click off of it first, select it again, right click, and I'm going to say send to back. And it sends that journaling box right behind my title, so it has allowed me to match my title. Okay, so now I'm going to zoom back out. I want to add a little bit more to it by putting in some more embellishments. And actually not embellishments, stickies. And I'm going to go to my not large accents, my medium accents. And I'm going to pull out a green star. I'm going to pull out a lagoon star, just kind of randomly placing these, and remember that you can always rotate if you'd like to. Pull out one more, and again I'm going to give it a little rotate and send it to the back. And then I'm going to take this one, and this time I'm leaving it on top. I'm going to rotate it and move it a little bit more. And then I want to go to my small accents. And again, I've got a little bit of, let's see where I want to put that, a little bit of the lagoon. I think I want to, the sunset, I want to make that a little bit smaller. And maybe rotate a little bit. Okay, but you know what, if I'm going to add that sunset color in, I really need to put it in a couple more places just to tie everything together a little bit better. And then I think I'll put another little bit over here, but I'm realizing I don't have any of the green over here, so I better add a little bit right here. And then I think I could use some up here too, so let me use my small lagoon, and I'll make it even a little bit smaller. It's the beauty of this, you can do this with your stickies. And then I'll do a tiny little green star. Make sure you hit save.